Paradox for JuanSource.com, and we're gonna be doing CT pistols today. We're gonna do Contra and Russka CT pistols. So gonna get right into it. These two maps really I'm gonna recommend playing default on, but I'm gonna offer also a different strat and alternative. I'm also gonna kind of tweak your default a little bit and show you how to really play those bomb sites in terms of your play style and all that. So starting out here on Contra, default pistol round, what you're going to do, you're going to play your one player middle. Alright, so he's going to be spotting the B cross. Also, you want to be aware of teams trying to rush up mid and whatnot, because a lot of teams on T-Pistol are going to try to take control of middle, maybe run this one middle player over, because you figure, there's one guy over here. A lot of teams are going to try to exploit that. So you want to kind of be aware of your mid, and also the B cross, help your B players out a little bit. Okay, so that's going to be your mid player. You're going to have two people at B, and these two players at B. Now, you figure out on a normal gun round what most of the time what I see teams doing and what I've done before, maybe playing a guy on the side and a person plank or one CT. Now, I'm not really a big fan of that on CT pistol. I think you should play passive on CT pistol, and I think the best way to do that is going to be to play two players over here in this cubby, in this stairs. Okay, playing passive. You could have maybe one CT spawn, but since that's a rotation point, you're going to have your middle player coming there. I'd favor playing two players over here in this dark area. Okay, the stairs. Alright, so maybe one player playing kind of like this and one here. You can really play completely passive. You don't have to peek out and give anything away. I mean, most teams are going to figure that you're there anyway, but you figure pistol around. Most teams aren't going to buy too many nades. You're not going to have too much to worry about, so you could play completely passive. And this is going to be a control point here in this bomb site. It's going to be this this dark little stairs right here. This is going to be a control point. And you figure if you're holding that, then they're only going to be able to plant behind this box right here, or what most teams are going to try to do is plant right here. Some teams may try to go after you, and that's ideal in the case that they do that, because you have a close range USP here. You're just going to get that entry kill every time. You have two players here, and they're gonna get entries. So you never know. I mean, playing passive, if teams try to take control, you may even get an entry kill or two, which is really good, and you should be able to stop the bomb plant too. Now, if teams play out here, if they try to plant out here, I mean, what you can do, first off, you can time your nade as they're entering the bomb site. Just say this guy on the stairs right here, you can time his nade, do something like that, and then in the case that they're planning right here, what you can do, and this is pretty easy on pistol to do, is just run out and kind of pre-fire that. You want to get good at doing that. Whoever's going to be playing over here, whatever player you got, playing over here, can pre-fire that and stop that bomb plant. That's going to be key. Even if you go one for one, this is talk about the one-on-one trades, one-to-one being favoring the T's. In this case, if you go one for one, stop that bomb plant, it's actually going to favor the CT team. So that's an option you have too. Try to stop that plant and get a rotation over. Get your A and middle players rotated over. So that's what I'd recommend, just playing two full passive, or if you don't want to play both players there, I'd recommend playing at least one, and then have another CT spawn if you really want to do that. If you want to go that route, I'll leave that open to you. So that's going to be your B players, your middle, and now your A. Now in A, what I'd recommend on pistol is to spot a little more aggressive, okay? But your mentality here is going to be to spot and drop. You're not really going to try to get, not even get entry damage. You're going to simply spot, try to get some info, see if they're coming up or coming lower, and then you're going to drop back. So this person at upper, that's what he's going to be doing. He's spotting that upper, seeing what's going on, and on any contact, he's going to fall back, straight back to upper. He's going to be playing this back haul. All right. Most of the time, what you're going to have is your second A player playing lower. Early on, I mean, you could kind of come into the site and play from different angles and whatnot, but really, in the end, you're going to be playing over here, okay? Playing down in the back haul, and you're going to end up having two back hauls. Now, one thing to think about here, that mid player is getting run over is that they can go sandpit. Okay, and in that case you have to be a little bit careful. And depending on the call, depending on the numbers, you may even want to rotate over and adjust and try to hold this upper area. Okay, and maybe even push into this upper. Maybe catch 1 or 2 players here. Maybe even the bomb. Very likely that might happen. You may want to make this a control point here, because if you control, you have the advantage over here in this castle up here at the top. Okay, and this is a pretty good place to fight from. It's going to be really difficult for teams to come in the side and plant if they don't have any sort of upper control. Okay, so if you have 1, 2 players upper and they try to enter the site, a lot of teams may try to do sandpit and lower or something like that. Maybe even CT spawn. If you're able to hold them off and hold this upper, you're going to be in good shape. So so that's just a little adaptation in the case that you run into that sort of pistol strat. Also, another thing you can do is play 2 upper by default, and then in that case you probably have 1 over here in the mud, and then you have 1 player over here, and also maybe in the lower. This may be a better place to play if you're going to do double upper, just because you can spot lower too. Me personally, I'd rotate back and forth and maybe spot lower once in a while, but you want to make sure that you have contact over here and you're baiting for your teammate close. And again, this is kind of this is a setup I wouldn't really recommend. I'd kind of stick with the basics and the default with playing more backhauls. But if you want to try something, if you want to try controlling upper, you're confident in your shots, and I'm not going to say no to that. So that's going to be your default on Contra. Also, the second strat I'm going to give you is what I'm going to call the B lockdown. Alright, it's going to be a strong strat towards B. You're going to have 2 players going to B through spawn normally. Now, instead of these players to play passive on the default, it's going to be a little different. You're going to be playing a little more up. I wouldn't say you want to rush. You may want to work out this timing, and I'll kind of explain that in a second, but you want to be playing maybe a little bit close still, having an option to fall back, if anything. So maybe playing 1 player here, this is kind of a headshot level right here, and you're going to be pretty hard to frag if you're moving around. You can kind of use the site, use that pillar, so you may want to have 1 player there, and maybe 1 player kind of towards the site, maybe towards here, and that way you can fall back. But work out that timing. If you're playing too passive, then you're going to have to adapt, okay, for this strat. Okay, main thing here is you could get a flash angle over this wall, help your teammates out if you have to, and then push. Okay, so these are going to be the 2 players of B, and what you're going to do, the reason this is going to be a B lockdown, it's going to be because you're going to send 2 players through middle. Alright, and then, going through middle, you could go through the window. Main thing here is don't get stuck. Alright, don't get stuck going through that window. If you want, if you're more comfortable, you could go around middle this way. I'd recommend having at least 1 player go this way, because you can kind of spot middle in the beginning this way too. You figure, I'm going to send that 5th player over to A, so you're not going to have a natural mid player. You're not going to have like a mid player mid round. So if they do a mid rush, this is kind of your spotting right here. You could kind of see what they're doing in the beginning and then drop in the sandpit. Okay, so these 2 players that are going to go middle to sandpit, I recommend doing a flash pretty early here, almost right when you drop down, just to be safe. Do 1. Alright, and that's gonna be that, and then I do a second one, kind of higher up, a little deeper, and that's gonna blow up and blind everybody in the middle of the bridge and even back here. That first one, that first flash you're gonna do, isn't gonna catch the people playing back here. So what you definitely want to do too, and also you're pushing the 2 people sandpit, pushing all the way up the bridge. You're gonna want to have these 2 players, like I was talking about, they're going to be a little closer, and these 2 players also are going to want to push. But the main thing is you don't want to go too early from this site, you don't want to go too late. If you go too early, then you may get caught on a rush, B gets taken over, and you're going to have a lot of problems. Same thing if you go too late, you're only going to have two people here, and then 2 people are going to come later. You're going to be split into 2-man teams. It's not really what you want on the strat. You want all 4 people going out, locking this down. Alright, so in the case that you do get this fight here, there's really no backing off. You really want to win this fight right here. You want to win the round. fighting them coming over to B, and that's ideal. If they do that, then that's what the strat is designed to do. All right. If you don't get contact over here at B, then you're gonna have to rotate back out, and I'm gonna leave this up to you, but you could either rotate in a group, which may be the better thing to do in the case the other team fakes, say, and runs back. Say you had one person rotating back through middle, and then the T's run A fake and run back through mid and have like 3 or 4 guys running here. They're gonna pick you off one by one, and that's really not what you want to happen. Not a lot of flanking goes on on CT pistol, at least not solo. You don't have that one player making a play most of the time and trying to flank. That's most of the time it's not really what you want to do, because you run a big risk by doing that. So I'll leave it up to you. What I'd recommend is that you rotate kind of the same way in groups of 2, and you have the 2 players from the site, and then you have the 2 players from here. I'd recommend rotating sandpit. Okay, maybe send one through middle, all right, or maybe send your players through middle to sandpit just to to be sure of what's going on over here in the middle. Make sure that there's nobody creeping over here, back here, maybe trying to get up mid, because that's going to cause you a lot of problems. Okay, and the other 2 can either go through sewer, the players who went through B can go through sewer, or through CT spawn over to A, in the case that you have to do a rotation and they're not going B. Alright, your 5th player is going to come over to A, and he's going to have to be spotting, kind of spotting both, but what I'm going to recommend is that you spot upper, because most teams, especially on the strat, you figure, you have people dropping down mid, they're going to see that mid early. They may see people going lower. I'd recommend that you spot the upper, because that's where most teams are going to go. You figure, they're going to send at least 1 or 2 upper to get control of this upper, because you're not, like I was saying before, you're not going to be able to really to plan or defend the site without control upper. So it's a pretty safe bet that if they're going to go A, that they're going to go through upper. So I'd say spot here, and this way you could get earlier call too, instead of spotting back hall and say, so you're spotting over here in back hall, and now you spot them in this entrance, but now hey, they're in the site, they drop in the site and you're kind of stuck here. So you may want to have this one player kind of just spotting upper instead of playing back hall, and then it's kind of the same idea. Once you get contact, you're going to want to fall back and play in the back hall. So that's that. You have your 1 player at A. You have your 2 middle dropping over to sandpit. Alright, those 2, they do the flashes over here to the bridge, and then you have your 2 B players. Okay, and they can need support. Just be sure not to blind your team. Alright, be sure not to blind your teammates going sandpit. Okay, and be pretty quick about this too. If you could kind of see on your radar where they're at once they're crossing this kind of crossing across the plank room. Your teammates are rather. That's really the point where you're going to start moving up and start taking control of the bridge yourselves. Okay, alright, so you're going to come out here and fight with them. Alright, so that's going to be a B lockdown. Your CT pistol, so you have your default, you have your B lockdown, strong B strat. Alright, so that's Contra. I'm going to go over to Russka now. Alright, so Russka, kind of the same thing as talking about as with Contra. This map you're going to want to play default, but again you're going to want to play these bomb sites a little different. At least the A bomb site you're going to play a little different than you would on a gun round strat. You figure you may play 1 upper or something like that on a gun round. On the CT pistol default, what you're going to do is you're going to want to play both players over here to this left side. Okay, so you play 1 player where I'm at right now, right here, and you're going to want to have your 2nd player probably over here. Okay, and you're taking a pretty similar angle here. You're going to be able to catch people coming into the lobby, maybe get an entry. Thing is here, since the reason you're playing both players to the left is going to be because if they do a rush, okay, and most teams are going to do this, or if they do take A, some teams may try to do this, just run straight up this ramp, and you got a lot of you got a fallback point here. You could get a nade in, you could get a few shots and get a nade in and fall back out of this bomb site, and then pick them crossing into the bomb site without giving up without trading. And that, I was talking about that on Contra where you had a situation where trading would benefit you. This is definitely not one of those. Okay, so you figure, say 5 people come up this T ramp, and you're able to pick off 1, 2, and then they enter the bomb site, and they trade, and they get your 2 players in A. It's going to put you in a 3-on-3. The bomb's going to get planted, and now all the advantage goes over to the T's. Okay, in that scenario. So you really don't want to be playing trades here. That's not what you want to do. You want to get entry damage, maybe an entry pick, and then you want to be able to fall back out, get your team rotated, and once they're dedicated to the bomb site, that's when you want to start taking over. When your team's set up to retake as a group, as a unit, and then you could do flashes over. You could do nades in the bomb site, whatnot. But most of the time, playing these 2 to the left here is gonna score you at least 1 entry kill. Okay, and you're not really going to sacrifice a lot doing so. Right, you may even want to do an exit flash too if you see just a bunch of people coming up the ramp. You may just want to do like a kind of exit thing right there, give yourself enough time to get out. Alright, as for upper, really, I mean, at any point, any round, you're not going to have to worry about upper for the first 20-25 seconds as long as you're spotting down in the lobby. You figure, that if they are going to go upper, they're going to have to go through middle first, okay, and then down over here to the upper. If you see them cross the lobby, then they could make it there too, but they're not going to make it there until they cross the lobby or go through middle, which is going to be at least 20-25 seconds, okay, most of the time, and that's if they go relatively quickly. So you don't really have to worry about the upper at all in the beginning, early round, and then later round, I'd recommend that you just kind of fall back off it and spot from deep. Alright, so you may do something like this, or maybe swing this player out right here, do something like that, or even just completely give up the site and pick the upper and then pick people crossing in the case that they come from the lower. You can do that, or the other option I'm going to give you is to play both players upper. Thing is, you're not going to play one here, you're not going to play one upper, one site. You're going to play either both in or both out of the site. Okay. So in the case you play 2 here, you may just maybe play 1 over here to this side and have 1 person spotting from here and try to control this upper. Now, once again, this is going to be a control point for this bomb site. It's going to be this upper. If you're able to control this, and a lot of teams on T side like to defend the bomb from here. Say plant over here by this box, and I've seen a lot of cases where people even win 1v2s, 1v3s here playing from this upper, and peeking really quick, getting a teaser, and then falling out. So this is a really big control point for the T's after they get the bomb plant. So if you want to play these 2 at upper and hold this upper, you could kind of give up that bomb plant, but at the same time you're controlling this upper. Also be aware of getting shot on the side if you're going to peek here, but you hold this upper off, and then you have your teammates coming in from CT spawn, maybe a flank lobby. Usually you'll just have 3 people from CT, and then you'll be flashing over and entering the bomb site, no problem. If you have a flash from here, you could even get anybody playing under the balcony, doing a flash from the upper. That's going to pretty much blind the whole bomb site. I mean, everyone in here is going to be blind. Really, only control point they're going to have is going to be this ramp right here in the lobby. And this isn't really, on T-Pistol, not really a great control point. So if you don't want to give the bomb site completely, if you don't want to like mid and late round fallback passive like I was talking about, you may just want to play 2 players at upper and see how that works out for you. Alright, so that's going to be what your 2A players are going to do on default. Your 3rd player is going to play pretty standard, just like you would on a gun round. It's going to be playing in CT spawn, and supporting, listening for the vent. Okay, anything going on there. You're going to have the other 2 players in B playing spot and drop. Okay, so 1 player in the hall is right here, and you can kind of move in and out, just spot. Main thing here is going to be to see the pace that they're coming at. If you get any sort of contact, I mean, you could tell the difference between somebody running around the corner and just rushing at you, as opposed to somebody peeking in and out and kind of seeing what's going on. So if you're able to tell that difference, what you're going to do, and say somebody's really pushing the pace on you, and you see 1, 2, and they're coming really quick, you're able to bank a nade off, you know, and have that do a lot of damage, as opposed to, you know, and I do this a lot, you know, where I'll mess with people and I'll try to draw nades, and you know, I'll make the person think I'm coming, you know, I'll peek them and then I'll back off because I'll know a grenade's coming in, and it'll be a completely wasted nade. So you want to be sure, you know, you're using your nade smart. You're able to notice kind of the pace that players are coming at. It's gonna be really important. And once again, when you get any sort of contact here, you don't really want to be fighting into the bricks or anything like that. When you get any sort of contact, you're going to fall back into the site and play 3 players here. Okay, you're going to play with your teammates here. All right. Also, usually if one side falls back from contact, the other side usually is going to fall back too. Okay, because you don't want to be kind of caught in the open and not being useful. All right, so. But anyway, the trail person here is going to spot, usually from up here. You could even move up all the way to this mountain and spot into the garage to see what's going on. And you could back out of here without any sort of flashes on pistol. You're not going to be fighting against an op or anything that's going to pick you off as you're falling back. You know, this is a really long range, so you know, you could spot over here, maybe get a grenade in if, you know, you see people cross into the garage. And really important, if you're able to get your nades off early and do damage, I mean, that's going to be ideal, because then you're not toying with them later on. You can just keep your gun out, maybe counter flash and peek. But this gives you, you know, good use of your nade, and you don't have to worry about it later. So once again, if you get contact, you're going to fall back, and this is going to be fallback point here for the trail person, usually on this ramp. You can kind of fight both here. Be aware of your surroundings too. I mean, be aware of what you're exposed to if you're playing right here, and they can get out the B halls over here. You definitely want to, you know, you see how you can kind of cut off with that pillar and all that. It's just an example, but you want to use your environment. You know, you could play closer up, make sure you're not open to 2 sides. You know, you could fight one side at a time. It's really what you're trying to do. Alright, your halls player also is going to fall back, and I'd recommend you either want to fall back here, or if there's a lot of trail pressure, you don't want to get shot on the side. You may even fall back all the way in the site, and this way you could kind of isolate one side. You know, say they're coming halls, you could play from here. Say they're coming trail, you know, you could catch them this way too. Alright, and once again, you have your spawn player helping out. This is going to be really important too, okay? Alright, so that's going to be your default, really not much to it. You know, just be sure to play the correct playstyle. You don't really want to be getting caught one person pushing or one person playing a spot, getting run over by 3 or 4 people, because, you know, even if you get 1 or 2 kills, usually, you know, usually what'll happen, you know, you bank on the high percentage occurrence to be that they're going to go 1 for 1. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter of it. You're usually going to go 1 for 1 if you get a kill. Okay, you may not get a kill, that's even worse, or you know, you may go 1 for 2, but that's not high percentage play. So like I'm saying, what you're going to want to do, just make sure you're not getting caught one by one, getting picked off, because you're going to fall apart really fast if that happens. Alright, so I'm going to stick to that default. Don't get too crazy with it. Alright, besides that, I'm going to give you just another option, another strat that works pretty decent. I've seen it work before, so I can tell you kind of with confidence that it may work for you if you do this. So this is going to be a mid-control strat. Right, what you're going to do on this, you're going to send 2 players over to A, and they're going to do the same thing as on default, but you're going to send 2 players middle. Okay, and this is usually going to be your halls player and your spawn player. You're going to send these 2 players middle, and they could just run out. If you want, you can pre-nade, and this could be, you know, if you get a good spawn, and you can run up and toss that nade really deep in there and get it on those stairs, you could do a lot of damage that way. So some teams, you know, if they do go middle on pistol, they're going to go quick. Okay, they're going to try to get out and just get out fast. That nade could really be a pest. Okay, that could really annoy them, do a lot of damage. Okay, really what you're going to do, send both players out. What I recommend, you know, if you're not getting contact over here at the middle, that you send both players over to this brick, okay, to the Z connector, and you could spot down in the lobby, you could flash down in the lobby, and you could coordinate with your 2A players and turn this into, really easily turn this into like a lobby control strat, a lobby push strat, where you have 4 players, you have aerial advantage here. You know, you have 2 players coming from this side, you have people coming from the ramp, and you know, you could pretty much blind everything in here. Say you have even 2 players holding far back, you're going to be at the advantage anyway. Say you have, you know, just a bunch of people go in lobby, you know, the T's go heavy lobby, which, I mean, you figure you didn't spot any middle. That may be the case. You're going to be able to just do one simple flash into it, and pretty much just blind everything, you know. So the reason I'm sending 2 here, you're going to have 1 over here still kind of working with the middle, but instead of being on this side and being isolated from his teammate, he's going to be over here still kind of controlling middle, but he's going to be able to help his teammate over here who's peeking down the lobby in the case, you know, that the T's come up the ladder and try to push this guy. You're going to have 2 here instead of 1, and you know, you're going to balance the numbers out a little bit and probably even run them into a trap a little bit, you know, get 1 or 2 guys chasing and catch those 1 or 2 and get entries that way. So that's gonna be what your middle players are gonna do. Not really gonna deviate too much from that. You're not really gonna be flanking or anything too fancy. So you have your 2 A players and you have your 2 middle players. Your 5th guy is gonna come over here to the trail. And he's going to spot the same way also. He's just going to spot trail. And you definitely want to be spotting closer up on this, especially on this mid-control strat. That way you can call what's going on over at trail. And if you don't spot anything, since this guy's a spotter, it's really important to communicate. Even if you don't see anything, you want to say, alright, hey, nothing trail. You know, you don't want to kind of leave your teammates hanging and make them wonder. You know, you want to have them have a definite idea, and that's what you're here for. You know, that's your role. Okay, so if you do spot trail, obviously you're going to call that, but also if there's nothing there, say, hey, nothing trail yet, you know, and make sure your teammates know what's going on. So once again, if you get contact over here at the trail, you're going to be falling back. It's kind of spot and drop. Maybe try to delay a little bit and fall back and try to control the bomb site best you can, get a rotation over. Also, bomb calls are going to be really, really important on this strat. Anytime you're doing any sort of push strat, really important communication and bomb calls, okay? Because then you're going to know where you have to rotate over. You can move as a unit. You can move with confidence too. You know where you're going. So that's going to be that. You have your 2 middle players, your 1 B player, and your 2 A players over here. Like I said, they're going to be playing pretty much the same setup, pretty close. 1 player here, 1 player here. And you figure after those mid players, if they get no contact, you should be ready to push down into the lobby. Once they start going into the red room, brick room, you may even do a flashbang down and push down, okay? So you're going to have 4 players here, big presence. You figure if there's nothing lobby, what you can do then, you know, there's nothing middle, nothing lobby, and you know, your trail player is going to be making calls. In that case, most likely they're going to be going trail. You could kind of pre-rotate too. And what I'd recommend in that case, if you ever get control lobby, you know, this goes beyond pistol rounds. If you ever get control lobby, you may just want to keep 1 player here, and he could spot the whole T side. You know, say they're doing like a fake or a delay or something like that. You could pretty much lock down this whole A bomb site with 1 player. Maybe not lock it down, but you're going to be able to spot and get an early call in and get the rotation in time. Okay, so you could ideally, you know, rotate your players behind. So maybe leave 1 guy there and send the other 3. I'd say as a group, you may want to just go ahead and flank as a group, or you could even rotate to the halls and go that way. Maybe 1 CT spawn, 2 halls over here, and come through this way. So you have a lot of options. This is another one you're gonna kind of have to play by ear. You know, you're gonna have to know how to adapt, and this is a good strat to run, you know, in practice. You know, when you're practicing, just run it for the sake of it. Most of the time you're going to rely on your default, but you know, when you're practicing, you want to get your responses down, and this is one of those strats where you're really going to have to know how to respond depending on the strat. And I'm telling you that, but you know, saying is one thing and doing is another. So you're going to want to definitely drill the strat a bit, try to run it against different teams, hopefully teams that'll have different sort of T strats. You know, 1 team may have an A strat, like an A rush, another team may have like a delayed trail or something like that. And that way you're going to be able to practice your responses, really be prepared. So once again, I mean, the strat, the mid control on the Russka and the B lockdown on Contra, these are going to be sort of secondaries. You know, I recommend playing default on both of those maps, but these are going to be sort of strats, you know, that you can run if you want to. Say, you know the other team likes to go likes to go A on this map or something like that, you know, or they like to go B on Contra, you could run that special pistol and have it prepared. You know, it's never a bad thing having an extra play, you know, and an extra strat or setup, because you never know when you're gonna need it. Okay, and it may, you know, that one time you use it may be huge. You know, may pay off big. So you know, never hurts to have a little something extra, right? All right, so you have your CT pistols on Contra and Russka. Alright, so Contra, once again, you had your default and your B lockdown. Okay, and on Russka, we had our default setup and our mid control setup. Okay, so 4 pistols in total. And once again, if you guys have any comments, any questions about anything today, or any requests, anything in the future, definitely let me know. Try to get that out to you, and we'll go from there. So, like I said, go ahead and, you know, feel free, post your comments. You know, even your experience. You know, if you use these strats too, really helpful for people. If you say, hey, you know, we tried the strat he's talking about, and you know, here's what happened. You know, you may even want to do that. That's gonna help everybody out, and you may get some input from people, and help yourselves out. So everybody helping everybody out that way. All right, so. Like I said, share your thoughts and whatnot. We appreciate the feedback. Alright, so that's it for me. Like I said, let me know what you need. I'll get it out to you. And I'll see you guys next time.